Crisis, crisis, crisis. India is dangerous, Indians are dangerous, and now even the Indian leaders are dangerous. Seems that's what the British Broadcasting Corporation, the BBC, is trying to convey to the world. But should we allow the former colonial criminal states, who were never properly punished for their crimes, to become our teachers and role models? And should we allow their state institutions to brainwash us?
So, India reacted strongly to a BBC documentary on Prime Minister Modi, dismissing it as propaganda and an example of the British media's colonial mindset. And as it was reported that the Indian government has blocked or banned the documentary, the self-proclaimed champions of press freedom in the UK started ridiculing India on a global scale, and some even suggested that Indians should learn what freedom of expression means from the British. So to start with, even though Indians did not colonize Britain, how comfortable would the UK be if the Indian state-affiliated media outlet Doordarshan started dominating the public narratives, influencing British domestic politics and voting patterns, or shaping public opinion in the UK? It is likely that it would be seen as an external threat to the UK's democracy, right? Second, would the UK celebrate if a foreign state-sponsored media outlet used faked footage to brainwash or influence its citizens? And third, how can the former colonial criminal states that enslaved others and stole others' freedom have the audacity to teach us the meaning and importance of freedom of expression? Mind you, it is the UK that seems to be the global graveyard of freedom of expression, as we all can see what this country has done to WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange. In the UK, they don't just arrest journalists, they don't just ban videos, they even ban entire foreign media outlets if and when required. They decide what the citizens can watch and what they can't. They tell their citizens what is right and what is not. Of course, many citizens in the UK are already brainwashed by their media, but then there are also many Britons who don't trust their own media anymore. And it was reported that less than half believe that BBC News journalists are honest and impartial. Now, when so many Britons themselves don't trust the BBC, what can we really expect from Indians? Many Indians don't take the BBC seriously. After all, should Indians forget how the BBC used faked footage of child labor in India to make a documentary that received an award that it was later forced to return? Wow, the BBC even got an award for its documentary that used faked footage. To be honest with you, that's not journalism, that's trash. Of course, the BBC is known for its manipulative and deceitful content. This was confirmed by the senior British journalist Christopher Booker, who exposed how the final version of the documentary film, India's Daughter, was deceptively edited to stereotype India and label Indian males as sexual predators. Should Indians forget that? But using forgery, lies or fabricated content to cheat or brainwash Indians is something that Europeans have been doing for centuries. For example, Christian missionaries, Jesuits, who are regarded so highly in the Christian world, deliberately wrote a fake Veda, the Azur Vedam, to deceitfully convert Hindus to Christianity. Wow, a fake Hindu religious scripture was written to fool Hindus. You know what? As a European, I am really ashamed of this. Point 3. The Modi documentary. Of course, I believe that every leader around the world should be critically examined and the loss of even a single life should matter. But the question is if the state-affiliated media corporations like the BBC have the same intention to do character assessment of their own leaders who are worshipped or regarded as heroes. After all, who can be held responsible or blamed for more deaths, Modi or Churchill? How many Muslim civilians has the US killed in the last several decades? But why did the Western media not label George W. Bush a global villain? Why is Obama not facing the same media trial? Why is Churchill perceived as a hero by so many in the West? Obviously, the only thing that can be expected from criminals is an attempt to cover their own crimes, something the Western colonial criminal states are quite good at. Yes, in the West, even criminals can be treated as darlings or as national heroes. Not only that, those who have contributed to the mass murder of Hindus can even be glorified or awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. According to Professor Gary J. Bass, former American President Richard Nixon and his National Security Advisor Henry Kissinger staunchly supported the military regime in Pakistan as it killed hundreds of thousands of Bengalis. Now, please tell me, can anyone in their wildest of dreams imagine an Indian man contributing to mass killings in the West and then receiving the Nobel Peace Prize? But of course, Kissinger was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. Now ask yourself, how did these dictatorship supporters reflect the so-called Western values that we are supposed to be proud of? Even during colonial times, the British media frequently presented the British as victims and the colonized people as aggressors. Not only that, a series of Hollywood and British films were produced justifying the British colonialism in India while negatively stereotyping or vilifying India. Even after the independence of the colonies, the British media frequently portrayed the problems and difficulties in their former colonies as resulting from the absence of a continued European presence. There is no doubt that the British media has played a key role in brainwashing those 34% of Britons who would prefer Britain to still have an empire. Perhaps that is exactly the colonial mindset that this Indian government official was referring to. But the colonial mindset and the dirty collaboration of the British government with the media has a long and an established pattern. I want to uncover the dirty truth about Reuters, which is one of the largest news agencies in the world. Yes, the same Reuters which was also caught red-handed, falsely accusing an innocent Indian man of cybercrime. Reuters was founded by Baron Julius de Ruyter, and his close ties with both domestic and foreign governments allowed him and his family to influence government's policies. Reuters was a big beneficiary of British colonialism, as the Reuter family's investments in Persia and Greece revealed different and deep connections between the British government, local governments, and the Reuter family. Eventually, in Persia, the Reuter family secured significant rights, which included the grant of an imperial Bank of Persia for 60 years, exclusive rights to issue banknotes and serve as the treasury, and the right to monopolize all mines except gold and silver not already under concession and being worked. Not only that, Baron George de Ruyter became one of the directors of the Imperial Bank of Persia. So yes, the members of the Reuter family of this so-called independent news agency impacted policy making both domestically and internationally, and even had a virtual monopoly on banking in Iran. Yes, these Western media outlets are colonial sharks that have built their empire through conwork, deceit, and colonialism, and they have never been properly punished for their crimes. Whether it is the BBC or Reuters, there is fake news, there is dirty money, there is willful deceit, and there is a colonial mindset. But there is something that probably hurts India even more, and that is the overrepresentation of the Western viewpoint and the underrepresentation of the Indian viewpoint. The Western media houses are able to influence Indians and shape their opinion far more effectively than Indian media can shape public opinion in the West. This is not equality, it is total dominance. But dominance by whom? Dominance by the former colonial criminal states that were never punished for their most heinous crimes. People of India should understand that when the media outlets of the former colonial criminal states show that the former colonies are in a very bad condition or are facing bad governance, it solidifies their cunning narrative that the colonization of those countries was somehow justified, and overall, colonization was not a bad thing. It also keeps their own citizens brainwashed and further discourages their citizens from asking tough questions to their own government regarding their colonial or neo-colonial crimes. All this helps the former colonial powers to keep their crimes largely hidden from their own citizens and from the citizens of their former colonies. But there is something that I want to say to the UK. Using your state-affiliated soft power asset, the BBC, to keep your citizens brainwashed or misinformed will not protect the empire that you have created from lies, slavery, and colonial loot forever. Hi, my name is Karolina. A lot that you watch on our channel is something that you won't find anywhere easily. This is the result of my years of hard work, gathering precious information, many sleepless nights, and fact-checking. I have dedicated my life to this, and even when I'm traveling, my research on various subjects related to India never stops. In recent times, the number of our patrons has declined severely. It used to be more than 400, and now it is less than 200. This has reduced our ability to post videos frequently. So if you like what we do, please come forward and support our efforts financially. Thank you.